Alright, we're going to be watching SpidyJocky, who is Silver 5 playing Junkrat on King's Row. I don't know if this is PC or console. Silver 5 DPS looking for guidance. So my burning question is, was there any plays as Junkrat that I could have made to save the match, given I'm pretty bad at most of the DPS heroes? My tank this match was 3 and 14. How can I play around a tank that's either tilted as fuck, throwing really hard, or just downright sucks? I know my performance wasn't stellar, but that was partially due to feeling like I didn't have the space. Always had the turret fire to destroy it. We were lucky to make it as far as we did that match, to be honest. Like I opened with, how can I play around something that bad to potentially make a match a win instead of a loss? Thank you so much for your help. Okay, so let's take a look at this game. So I've already pre-watched this. This is going to be a mini review. I'm only going to cover the first point. I don't even know if I'm going to go much further than the first point. So I'm going to talk about the first point and just kind of instruct like what you're doing wrong. So the single biggest problem that you have with Junkrat is that you don't know what is the correct thing for you to be doing and the distance that you're supposed to be playing. You treat Junkrat as like an artillery platform. You're like, hey, I'm going to stand back here and I'm going to spam grenades on them and hope it hits somebody. But remember, your grenades only do 120 damage, so it's never going to kill anyone unless you hit 2 of them. And the odds of you hitting 2 people from this distance, or from this distance, or from this distance, or frankly even from this distance, is very, 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 very low. And if you're going to like wager your game on your ability to hit shots from here, I think you probably recognize that's probably not a good bet, right? If you're like, look, if I win if I hit shots from here, that's less than 50-50, certainly, right? So not a good plan for you to be doing that. Instead, what you need to be doing is one of 2 things. Either A, playing up with your tank, applying a ton of pressure to their front line and getting kills, or number 2, taking off angles. So for example, taking control of this space, or this space, or this space, and using those off angles to pressure back the team and get kills, or just to create space, right? It's funny that you're like, oh, you feel like you don't have any space to do anything, but I think you actually have plenty of space here, and in fact, you could have taken some of that space on your own, especially since there is a Mercy on your team too, who can also help pocket you when the Pharaohs doesn't need help. So I think that's really, really important to emphasize, and we're going to be covering that kind of moment by moment as time goes on. So let's watch the beginning game. Doors open, you're going to come out here, right, and you just spam, okay? But let's look. Where is the spam even going, right? Like that spam was not near anybody. Like no one's going to be standing like right here. This wouldn't even be a direct. Like they'd have to be standing here, watching it bounce on that side, over here, and then downtown. That's unlikely to happen, right? So next grenade is over here. Again, there's not actually anybody over here. Third grenade, again, not anybody over here, though that is an incredibly lucky bounce. But again, like you landed direct, like that's as lucky a bounce as you're ever going to get in your life. But it doesn't matter. Like, does that prevent the Zen from doing his job? No, he can still stand here. He can still discord. He can still apply pressure to the shield. Zen heals him up instantly. Okay. Another grenade goes over here. Again, nobody's there. Right. Another grenade here just lands short. It's no good. That's the first 5. So let's watch the next 5. Right. 2, 3, 4, 5. You get any hit markers? Nope. No hit markers? No hit markers. Okay, so now out of 10 shots, you've landed 1, which didn't help your team win the fight at all. In fact, didn't even stop the Zen from doing his job because he's around a corner, so he can still attack. So 1, 2, and then you give up. But your tank's already dead. So you had time there, right? You were able to fire 12 shots from far away, and you got nothing done with it, and your tank's already dead. Now, is it your tank's fault that he's dead? Absolutely, right? But the question here is, did you do anything to help win the game while your tank was fighting and dying? Because your tank doesn't die he doesn't instantly die, you know, when he like takes some amount of damage, which is some amount of space where for him to die, people have to target him. And when people are targeting him, that's space for you to kill somebody. So what could you have done differently? Well, let's watch. Let's roll this back. Let's watch it from the tank perspective. So tank comes all the way out here, right? This is already kind of an overextension, but he doesn't get rock, which is fine, right? He shields. He's trying to back up here and try to get healed to the shield. Okay, good. He's got his shield back, right? He's up here. He's Sigma's half. Unfortunately, Sigma is eaten grasp, right? He fire strikes, right? He's full health right now. He's gonna charge. This is a bad charge right away. This is a terrible charge. This is a bronze charge. He's charging into 5 people, and there's still a turret, so he's charging 5 plus 1, going around a corner where his team's not really gonna help him very much. He also barely has any shield. This is a terrible charge. Okay, but it's time, right? He's going to die here because Trance is messing up his instincts. I guarantee you the primary reason this tank is dying is because he's not used to playing with Trance. It's not Trance, Discord Orb from Zenyatta. Because Discord Orb applies more damage than he's expecting. So he thought he'd be able to, at least, if he failed the charge, be able to put the shield up in time. Right? But he dies so fast that he tries to do one swing and he's like, oh shoot, and probably try to break the shield, and then he's dead. That's what's happening right now. Now this is for sure a mistake, but I'm just pointing out, like, the Rein dying is not as unreasonable a situation as you might imagine, because he's taking a lot of damage, a ton of damage, from the fact that there's a Zen on his team, which is messing up his Silver 5 or Bronze 1 level instincts as to how much he can get away with. And as a tank, you have to take risks, you know what I mean? Like, it's tough to always know, like, will I survive, will I not? You can't expect to get, like, a Masters level tank who's going to know exactly how much damage they can take in your game. Everyone's going to make mistakes, you just need to exploit them. But let's think about how long this takes, at least, okay? Because we're talking about space here. So Rein's out here. I would argue this is space, right? Everyone is going to be aiming at this Rein. He's forced rock out at a minimum, okay? So if we look again, everyone's looking at this Rein. Can we agree? I mean, the Torb is maybe spamming at you, or the Fair or something like that. But like everybody else is aiming at this Rein. So let's count how long you have to get a kill. 1, 2, 3, 4. Everyone's still aiming at the Rein, right? So it's still space. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 seconds before this Rein dies. He does not die instantly. It's not like he just charged. Like, if he died initially when he got the statue, that, yeah, what are you gonna do? Like, you could barely get there in time. 16 seconds is a very, 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 very long time in Overwatch, right? Even if this was a Masters level Rein, he might still have died in 16 seconds just because the other team was really good at breaking his shield and then pursuing around a corner and killing him, right? He might still die in 16 seconds. Like, he wouldn't have died like this, but he could still very well be dead in 16 seconds. It's not that crazy. The problem here is that you have no sense of urgency, right? Your Rein is pushing in, he is making space, he's collapsing the enemy team. Your Pharah is also applying pressure on the opposing team, pushing them back. But you're hanging way the heck in the back, okay? And I know I'm really harping on this first fight, but it's because all of your problems are related to this. I would say all. Many of your problems, core problems, are related to this. Your Rein is in here, fighting, distracting, making space. See, Sigma's getting pushed back, right? If you say space, you can walk freely from here all the way from here, okay? That first corner has already been won by your team. That's space. You could even go up this stairwell, right? Like, yeah, you take a small amount of damage from the turret, but you could, like, jump across or whatever, or you could jump up here. So you could even take the right side here, basically for free. So I don't know how much space you're expecting here. Like, do you expect the space, like, oh, they're gonna just let you walk into them? Like, that's not a reasonable amount of space to expect in the game, right? The Rein got you through this choke. If you couldn't get through this choke, that's the Rein's problem. But the Rein has gotten you through this choke. You could walk the statue and play the right side of statue and use that space to collapse the rest of the team. Again, look at the enemy team's positioning, okay? They start out having control of all this area. They have control of the choke, they have control of right side statue, left side statue. As the Rein goes in, right, Fair is applying pressure, right? Sigma goes up, but Cassie's already backed up here. Torb's playing in the back, right? Combination of the Fair and the Rein have now pushed all of them to the left. This right side is now free for you. And before you complain about turrets, you're one of the best turret killers in the game. At close range, you can instantly kill a turret and takes like 0 damage, right? Peek one shot, and then toss concussive, and then right click around the corner, and you destroyed the turret, and you took 0 damage. Or if you don't want to use concussive, you do peek 1 shot, peek 2 shot, peek 3 shot. Great, you kill the turret in like a second and a half. Like, the turret is literally no problem for you whatsoever as a projectile-based hero with a high damage projectile. Like, if you're a soldier, it's like kind of more annoying to have to do this because you're gonna take more damage, for example, right? But like, as somebody like Junkrat, this turret is trivial. For you and Pharah, this turret does like nothing to you. So saying like, oh, the turret's a problem is the wrong excuse. That's like saying, oh, I'm playing Widow, the Pharah is a problem. Well, like, it's your job to deal with the Widow, right? Like, what are you expecting here? Like, you expecting some kind of help from your Junkrat to kill the Widow, to kill the Pharah? No, like, that's got to be your job. Like, you have to deal with that. Like, turrets are really, really easy for you to kill as long as they're within a reasonable distance. Like, turret here, easy kill. Turret all the way over here, tougher kill. I think at higher ranks, still fairly easy because you know exactly how they arc it. At lower ranks, I think you're less likely to know exactly how far you need to shoot it. But the Pharah would kill it for you anyway, and it doesn't stop you from stepping forward. So we've established, 1, there is space, 2, there's 16 seconds of time for you to do something, and 3, the turret is not actually a problem. So what should you have done differently other than standing high and spamming? You should have been coming here with the Rhine, again, forcing the Sigma back. As soon as the Sigma's like, okay, there's no way the Sigma's going to die, I go in, I take the space, I kill this turret quickly, and then I start shooting from here. If I had to ask you, if you're attacking from right here, what are the odds of you hitting a direct? Right? Because remember, splashes don't matter. In this game, in Overwatch, as a general rule for DPS, virtually all DPS require hitting direct hits sooner or later if you want to climb the ranks, right? Pharah, for example, tracks your direct hit percentage because it's that important, right? You want to be hitting like 40% plus of your Pharah shots as direct hits. Same thing for Junkrat. You got to be hitting directs, not just like, oh, rolls on the ground and splashing them. You want to be hitting direct shots to get the full 120 damage. So at this distance, what are your odds of hitting a direct? You probably don't think your aim is that great. I would probably agree. But still, your odds of hitting them are like, let's say 35%. Not unreasonable, right? I mean, like 35%, 30%, that's okay. Even 25%. What are your odds of hitting a direct over here? Well, we already saw you fire 12 and you hit 1 off a lucky bounce. So 10%, 5%, like very, very, very low. So even if your direct hit is only 25%, which is not good, if you're standing right here, you've quintupled your chance at getting a direct hit compared to standing up there, right? Again, right here, 25%, which I think is a low estimate for your aim, right? Versus here, 5%, 10%, right? Super, super low chance of hitting a direct. Here, high chance of hitting a direct, right? Much higher, relatively speaking. Additionally, right here, you can throw concussive mine and guarantee a hit. No matter how bad your aim is, I guarantee you just throw a concussive at them and pop it in the air, it's gonna hit them. And regardless of the damage, the knockback will knock them back onto the point. Or, if you were really good and you threw it behind them, you could even knock them towards you or towards your team and get a pick that way. But let's just assume you pop it in their face, they get knocked backwards, the Sigma is fighting 5 people all by himself, so Sigma has to back up, and your team takes more space. Junkrat is a great hero at killing anyone within 10 meters, 10 to 15 meters. He can make it so that any hero in the game, doesn't matter if it's Sigma or Orisa or like other extremely tanky heroes, if they're within 10 to 15 meters of you, I guarantee that you will force them backwards within 10 seconds. It is impossible to stay up against the amount of damage that Junkrat does, right? Junkrat's base DPS with his Gregor Grenades is 180 for perspective, 180 damage per second without including his concussive mines. And that's just one target. It has a large splash radius. So you can be doing absolutely massive, crippling damage to the opposing team if you just stand close enough that you're actually hitting them with your shots. Okay? Very, very important. So again, how do we play this differently? Well, I want to come down here, I want to force a Sigma back, I want to go here, destroy the turret, and then spam out the rest of the team. And when I get an opening, I can then concussive, jump over here, spam this way, or come all the way over here. I think we can hopefully agree that if I can magically teleport you from where you are right now to right here with full health, your team is extremely likely to win this fight, right? From instead of a 50-50 fight, your chance of winning this team fight is like 80%, 90%, because you're in the back line, on high ground, you can hide from them. They have no ability to climb up and get you, and you can just spam them out from here, and they're going to die, right? The Ana can't scope here, the Zen is going to have to look at you and try to back up, right, and try to shoot you with shots. You can always just crouch and play in the back here and just spam them like crazy and force their attention away. Like, it's like an instant win if you can get to here. So your perspective should be, how do I take better and better angles from them? Where you're starting, bad angle, right? Here, okay angle. Here, good angle. Here, even better angle. Here, great game-winning, fight-winning angle, right? And then you can just work through like that. Every fight is going to have some element of that, which is you want to take space away from the enemy team, and you want to like basically compress them into smaller and smaller areas until, this is on attack, right? Until they have no more space to go, and then you kill them and then you win. Right? Defense is the exact opposite. I need to understand what is the space they try to take away from me and how do I defend that space. Again, Junkrat's really good at doing that because of the nature of his abilities. Alright, so we spent a lot of time talking through the first minute of this game. Not even minute, but, 30-ish seconds. So your Reinhardt's dead. Okay, great. Just fine. Reset. You should reload right now. You have one shot. Alright, so ammo awareness is really important for all FPS games. You gotta make sure that you know how much ammo you got. Alright, you come out here. You see there's a Cassidy. You see there's a turret. Alright, so you stand still here. Standing still in general is a really bad idea in Overwatch. You have a lot of trouble, like with your grenades, bouncing off of walls that are too close to you. So as a general note, you should be aware of this. You should never miss a doorway with a grenade. I know it seems like ridiculous, but like that's a thing that you need to improve at to get better. Every grenade you fire is precious. You usually have very little time because of the nature of Junkrat. Like Junkrat's like a fuse burning down. You have to win the fight before the Junkrat eventually overwhelms you with the amount of damage that he does to your team. That's the nature of Junkrat, right? When you play at higher levels, is that his spam is super, super strong. His ability to instantly kill people and get picks is actually fairly good, and he also farms ultimate really fast, and his ultimate is a fight winner, right? It's a very consistent, especially at lower ranks. Riptire is a very consistent fight winner. So, again, Junkrat's a fuse. So that means every grenade you fire, right, the enemy team is going to try to kill you, poke you out, force you back, whatever it is. So every shot you fire is very, very, very valuable. So you missed some shots here. Again, I think I would just go back, get the Mega, and come back and reset. So do you do that? Or you get the Mega, but your team is pushed through, and you come out here, and your Reinhardt's already dead. And you're probably like, oh man, like my Reinhardt's already dead. What do I do? But again, let's look at how long it takes you to do anything. Okay, so let's wait until your Rein's back. So you have time to set up here. You had more than enough time to clear that turret by now, right, and start taking the side. Reinhardt's in. So starting for about right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He dies pretty quickly there, right? I think it's definitely a bad death for him. But still, I would say enough time that I would have recognized that the Rein is going in and then followed him in right now, right? The fact that you're being so slow about the way that you take the pace of the game, like you're like, let me just kind of casually walk up here, right? And then I'm like, hey, what's out here? Oh, Cassidy. I'll fire one shot. Oh, I got hit. Okay, I guess I should walk back. All right, let me just take the stairs. I'm gonna come back down here. I'm gonna get the Mega. I'll come out here. Oh, my tank's dead. You know, like that's not the pace of Overwatch if you want to be climbing, right? For example, you could have just gone on the high ground from just like putting concussive here and just concussive jumping right up top, and then you right at this doorway immediately. Okay? Or it's like, oh, you take the shot. Okay, fine, right? You drop right back down here. You get the Mega, right? Come back, peek this way. You know. Alternatively, you could have just dropped out this way. You know, when you take this Mega, instead of getting Mega, you come out here, just sit in this doorway, ping X, right? Your Mercy will see you and come heal you. Great. Go right back to fighting, right? Stand here, spam, right, etc. Or drop down, right? And then concuss back up. You have a lot of options here, which are not just slowly walking around the map doing nothing. So you're doubling down your Reinhardt's mistake. Your Reinhardt pushed in and died. You should not be pushing in right now. Your Reinhardt will be back very soon. The spawn is extremely close. Instead, you're pushing in and you're frontlining against 5 people. This is a huge mistake. You should be dead. However, you can cuss yourself into a corner. At higher ranks, there is a 0% chance that you will survive here without concussing your mind to get yourself out. 0% chance. I would say even in gold, let's say high gold, low plat, there's no way you will be able to walk out of here and survive. However, because this is silver 5 and everybody's really bad, you're just going to walk out and barely take any damage. As much as you might complain about your teammates, the enemy team are terrible, right? Like, what I literally could have killed you with a Mercy pistol. I'm just like, it's so easy. You're just walking in a straight line and jumping, which actually makes it easier to hit you. You're just walking in a straight line back to the choke, and then you just walk out, and you're not being healed the entire time. You should be dead. I think that's important to emphasize. You should be dead. That was a terrible sequence of actions that you were not punished for, which is bad because it trains bad habits, right? Because you think, oh, I can do stupid things and I'll get away with it. But when you start climbing, you're like, why isn't stuff working anymore? It's because you do stupid things. Like, that is not a good thing for you to have done. The correct thing is just to wait for your tank and just push with your tank, which is not a thing that you've done yet at all. The first minute of the game has gone by, and you have not done a single push with your tank. All right? That is your single biggest problem. So, sorry. Okay. So, again, you've lost 2, right? Your Pharah's dead, your Ana's dead. You should just bail, right? Your Rein's going in right now. This is definitely a mistake. You know, I would just chill, just spam, right? I would just spam, try to build tire. So, the funny thing is, even your spam is not even a good angle. So, where should I be spamming right now? straight here, right? So because I see my ride is here, I know people are gonna step up and try to kill the ride. So I want to be spamming straight down here and try to land some directs, right? Or maybe a splash hit. Instead, what do? You fire one shot, you break the shield, and then you fire a shot into the statue. What's this grenade doing? Who is this for? What? Right? Like, the one thing that you seem to be very interested in doing is spamming. So if you're going to spam, at least make sure to spam the right places. That grenade is not on target. It's not even close to on target. I wouldn't say this is an aim issue. It looks like you intentionally shot the statue for some reason. And then you have the opportunity to do a bunch of shots here, but you see how your next grenade hits the frame of the door, right? The gate post. And this is what I mean is you can't miss doorways. Like this is, I know like precision aim is probably not something that you're good at. That's probably one of the reasons you play Junkrat. That's okay. You don't need to be that precise. But like when you have this level of space to aim at, right? Basically the space between here and here, you can't be missing that if you want to be successful. You know what I mean? Like that's got to be at least like the baseline expectation for what accuracy looks like is, can you shoot, this is like a broadside of a barn type situation, right? Like can you hit the, maybe not even the broad, let's call it the thin side of the barn. It's probably a better term for that. But anyway, can you hit the doors of a barn, right? We're not asking for bullseye precision here, but we're asking for, can you hit like this general like 2.5 meter wide space? Can you at least make sure your spam is through that? I think that is a reasonable expectation for Silver 5, right? So I think that's really important, is to be more conscious of where you're aiming, because I don't think this is a mechanical problem. I don't think this is like, oh, like I don't have the precision to do this. I think you're just sloppy about your fire control, right? You see you fire that shot and then you look to the left. This is not an aim issue. You know what I mean? You're just intentionally, for whatever reason, I can't guess, right, that you point to the left and intentionally pulled the trigger to shoot at something that is not going to hit any targets. Then you look back, and now you're not taking into account the fact that you started from the right, and so that grenade is coming from that right angle and it clips the wall. This one I think is, again, more, I understand why this one hit the wall, but that's the kind of thing that you need to practice to get better at so that doesn't happen. So your next spam, that is on target, right? And that's a direct hit, and you did 120 damage, which is great because Sigma only has 550. So with 5 shots, you can do 600 damage. You can kill a Sigma from full health using only your grenades and no mines. I cannot emphasize this enough, how much damage Junkrat does. An overwhelming amount of damage. You, for perspective, do more damage than an Ana and a Mercy can heal combined. A target that is being double pocketed by Ana and Mercy will take more damage than they are being healed from just your grenades. And if you factor in mines, they will take significantly more damage than they are being healed. You can in fact kill a 200 health hero who is being double pocketed by 2 supports. Like, I know I've said this like a million different ways, but I think this is important to sink in. You do so much damage, an overwhelming amount of damage to the opposing team if you are close enough and you are landing directs. Okay, so important for me to point out. Like, if you take one takeaway from this is get closer to the enemy and kill them, right? Like, forget survival. Forget, like, playing safe, playing your life for a second. Like, just try to figure out, like, how do I kill people? Because if you can't figure out, like, your job is to kill people, right? As DPS, your job is to get picks. If you can't figure out how to get picks, you're never going to be able to climb any further. And this is one of the reasons why you might want to play deathmatch for a while, right? Play deathmatch. Try to land top 3, top 2, top 1 in a given, FFA lobby, and just practice dueling and fighting with Junkrat over and over and over again until you learn how to kill people really, really fast, so that everyone is dying within like 2-3 seconds of if they're close enough to you, which is a very, very, very common technique. All right. So again, we spammed out. You're down. You're right here, so it's not really a lot that you can do. I don't really know why you can cuss to the right, but I think you're trying to take high ground here, which is fine. You should have finished your healing. 163 and 200 is a big difference, right? You don't want to drop below 200 if you don't have to, right? Varus, Mercy's pocketing you right now. You should jiggle peek right now, so you should go out, shoot, shoot, shoot like that. That is the technique. which I think is something that you're probably not well practiced at. But you killed the turret really quickly, great. The Mercy's pocketing you right now, by the way, because your Pharah went Widow. So you now have a Mercy pocket with you, so you're getting a lot of resources dumped into you from your team. You and the Mercy represent 40% of your team. Okay, very, very important. And since the other DPS is a Widow, who doesn't do much damage but gets picks, you represent something like 70% plus of the damage of your team at this moment in time. Like, it really has to be you who has to get picks now. Like, for better or worse, and some people hate getting pocketed by Mercy because they feel the pressure of it, your job is now to go and get damage and get kills as soon as your Rhine is back. So, your Ana's over pursued here. This is clearly a mistake on behalf of your Ana. See, once again, you're doing artillery mode. You're just spamming to spam. But why don't you just drop? Drop and shoot here, right? Or play high ground over here so at least you can have a better angle to see where they are and just spam from here. Again, with Mercy damage boosting, you do so much damage. You're going to do 156 damage, right, per grenade. That's a lot. That's a lot of damage. Like, they take any chip damage, they're going to die. All right, so your Rhine has gone in earnest. The Rhine has died instantly again. Unfortunate. But this is a moment where you can pick up kills. Okay, all 5 of them are looking at that Reinhardt, who has made a terrible, fatal mistake. This, believe it or not, is actually a winnable situation. All you gotta do is just spam into them, right? Just spam into them, and you get kills. But let's look at where your grenades are going, okay? So, again, your Reinhardt's in. So, grenade number 1 is at the Ana, I understand that. Grenade number 2, let's look. Where should we be aiming right now, okay? You have not fired a second grenade. Let's pause for a moment. Where should you be aiming this grenade? I think the most obvious answer is here, right? Because there's 3 people piled up on top of your Reinhardt at point blank. If you hit one of them with a direct, it does 120 damage, plus I think it's like 80 damage splash, 80 damage to 2 targets. That's 280 damage per grenade right now. So, sorry, 1 second. That's 280 damage per grenade at this moment in time. And that is a lot of damage. It is extremely hard for them to deal with that. Now, also note here is that the team only has Zenyatta and an Ana. So they don't have another large healer, right? Zenyatta has one of the lowest healing in the game, arguably the lowest healing in the game because Lucio can amp. So lowest healing support in the game. So any damage you do is really hard for them to remedy, right? To heal that back compared to this is an Ana Moira game, for example. So all the damage you do will add up and can result in winning. So instead of shooting down main at them, you see that your other grenade is going way off to the left. Okay? Now, it could have hit the Zen, but not likely, right? And there's no reason to believe the Zen was going to go over there, so this grenade is off target. So that's not so good. So your third grenade is reasonable. I think this is going to miss, but I think this is a reasonable grenade. Like, I'm not going to be nitpicky here. Like, obviously not every grenade's going to hit, even when it's a good situation for you. But what about grenade number 4? All right, so that's grenade number 3, and that's grenade number 4 that you just saw bounce off of the light post and fall behind you. Like, this is the critical moment of the fight where you could have done something to swing things. Is, hey, they're all grouped up. My Ryan has made some space poorly, but he did make space, right? I have the ability to kill the whole team. Where are the kills? Right? Where are the kills? You were getting pocketed by your Mercy at the beginning of that, right? Like, you have plenty of space. No one's shooting at you. There's no turret involved. Like, you don't have any other excuses. Like, this is just you, right? You're just missing shots at a critical moment. And no matter any way that you slice it, at the end of the day, DPS have to do damage and they have to get kills. If you can't do that, then you're always going to be unable to climb, right? At that critical moment. There's no shield or anything at that moment in time. Also, as a note, is that you can throw concussive as you're doing this. Okay? So this second shot, I would have thrown concussive into this space, right? Taking the same arc as your grenade, and then you could have popped the concussive in everyone's face, doing 100 damage to all 3 of them. Right? Junkrat gets to just look at somebody and be like, you, 100 damage, bam. Right? And it's like impossible to dodge because the explosion radius is huge, right? Especially if they're not looking at you. Like, you get to just chuck concussive mines and just wreck people, and you're just not using it, right? You have 2 charges this whole time. You only use a concussive mine to get out, which actually was probably a good time to use it to get out, but I would have preferred that you committed both concussive mines to try to get kills there. So 2 minutes have now gone by off the clock. You've done nothing, right? In 2 minutes, you've gotten 0 kills. So for perspective, a general good ballpark number is to get 10 final blows. And when I say kills, I do not mean eliminations. Eliminations are garbage and are a useless stat. Because if you do 1 point of damage to somebody and they die, and someone else does 199, you get credit for the elimination. Eliminations are useless. Never look at eliminations. Think about final blows. If you got, so a typical ballpark number is 10 final blows, right, per 10 minutes, right? AKA 1 final blow per minute of gameplay. 2 final blows have gone off right now. You have not even gotten close to getting a kill. You haven't even got somebody critical. The only damage you've done are lucky bounce directs. So you're just not doing anything. That's the problem. Like, you can complain about your tank all you want, but like, you have space to attack and to fight and to take angles and to take space, and you're mercy pocketed and you're not doing anything. Another example of missing turrets is not so good, right? They're stationary targets. This grenade's obviously off target, but you know, it is what it is. You also hit the wall there, right? You hit the wall again. So despite being 88 health, you've clearly gotten impatient. You've jumped out the window instead of just waiting for healing or waiting for your team. This has to look like a mistake, hopefully, to you, right? Your team is clearly regrouping, respawning, and so forth, and then you decide at half health to just jump out the window. This is effectively suicide. I don't really know how I could possibly justify this decision other than that you probably got super impatient and were frustrated and were like, oh, I'm going to try something and see if it works. This is not the right call at the right time. Okay? Just wait, right? Get healed up by your team, keep spamming out the turret, kill the turret, great, and then push it in with your team. Don't have to make this so hard. You don't need to go on crazy flanks. You don't need to do anything wacky. That's all. Just like, keep it simple. So now you're over here, you're at 32 health, you're still shooting, which is extra bad because you really don't want anybody to see you right now. Torb comes over to fight, great. Wait, we killed this Torb, right? The Torb made a mistake. He tries to come around the corner. You see how easy it was to kill him? Right? You throw a concussive, bam. Also, I think a grenade bounces off the wall behind you and hits him. Wait. What is... He definitely gets hit by a second grenade somehow. That's one. Is it this one that hits him? Okay, well, regardless, great. You got a pick. This is big, right? Picks usually result in wins. I think as soon as you get one pick, the odds of you winning a fight go from 50-50 to like 75-25. This is great. Just push for your team now, right? Just push for your team. Make sure your Rhine doesn't die. You're good. If you push with your Rhine right now, the damage pressure you apply to Sigma prevents him from killing the Rhine because he has to back up because you will kill the Sigma, right? Instead, you go high ground right now. I think this is okay, but I think I would have just pushed main because it's faster. You start spamming before you even know anyone is there, right? Like, you can't see anyone right now. Like, we can see the Ana here because it's replay, but I guarantee that you could not see anything as Junkrat right now. There's no way you saw the Ana at this moment in time. But even then, the grenades aren't on target for the Ana anyway. You're just spamming to spam. See? No one is here. Why are you spamming right now? You're just spamming to spam. You know? You're just like, I will click buttons and toss grenades into the air, and like maybe they'll hit somebody. You're like somebody who shoots their gun in the air, hoping their bullets will land on the enemy. Like, this is like the level of spam that we're at. Like, you're just literally just shooting to shoot. You're not looking at any of the targets. What should you have done instead? You should have at minimum walked up to see where people are, and then I would have gone to this corner, realized the Zen is super overextended, and then I would have shot a grenade and fired a concussive mine right here behind him, because I know the Zenyatta is not going to stay here because he's going to die if he stands forward. So you just fire it over here. Even if the grenade misses, likely, the concussive will not, and then you do 100 damage and you'll knock him towards your Rhine or towards your Ana/Widow. And then you get your pick number 2 and the fight is over. Instead, you even get slept, right? So he dies anyway, but you didn't know that was going to happen, right? That's what I would do in that situation. So you come forward, you notice that you hit another grenade on the light post. Shatter comes out. It's a good shatter, right? Sigma's down right now. You could just kill the Sigma right now, right? Like, what? Grenade, concussive, right? Dead. And like, there's no way the Ana can heal the Sigma enough for this to happen. Even if the Ana had nano, and nano, it does actually have nano, and nano's a Sigma, I guarantee you could still kill the Sigma if he does not use grasp or shield, which he will. But I'm just clarifying how much damage you do. You do so much damage. Okay, so much damage. I cannot emphasize this enough, and that's why I keep talking about it over and over again repetitively, because you do so much damage. But if you don't want to engage a Sigma, that's okay. Engage the backline. That's fine. You should throw a concussive here, You should throw a concussive here. You should throw a concussive here. You should throw, see? Like, at any moment in time, you just throw a concussive at this Cassidy and do 100 damage. Or throw at the Ana and do 100 damage. Like, whichever. Take your pick. Does not really matter which one you want to do. Okay? Support would be better, but she's also farther away. If you think you can get the Cassidy kill, get the Cassidy kill. Right? So, again, you wasted your opportunity to get the kills. The Ana is still low, but the problem is she can get around the corner now, so you concussive, you probably won't kill her. Right? See? Now the concussive is too late, and you pop it too early. Right? I could already tell from when you popped it that it's too early. The splash is not close enough to her. Right? We're at least, 4 or 5 meters away. Like, pretty far. So, Sigma uses Flux. What do I do right now? So, funny story, I would actually concuss this way. Because I don't want to get caught. I wouldn't know right now if there's anybody behind me. And so I would just try to get forward, because no one's going to be near me if I play a telephone booth, for example, and just attack over here. That's one option. Option number 2, you can concuss away and play behind the statue. Option number 3, you can concuss upwards and play over here. Option number 4, you can just sit here and be like, you know what? You just ignore it and just attack over there. Because realistically, if he solo fluxes you, is what it is, man. Like, there's not a lot that you can do to prevent that from happening. So just worry about applying pressure down main. So you try to concuss away. The problem is your concuss is not really the right angle. So if you're going to concuss, you actually should concuss this way, like horizontally towards the wall, perpendicular to the wall, rather. Right? Perpendicular to the wall to get you around the corner. So that way, even if he lifts you, hopefully you can get here. Even if you get lifts you, he won't be able to finish the kill because he can't see you inside of the building. But I think on a scale of like mistakes you make, this is a relatively minor mistake. Like 1 to 10, 10 being egregious, 1 being like tiny mistake. This is like a 3, right? I would say that the spamming is like an 8. It's like a huge problem and is definitely a big reason why you're not able to have any game impact. All right, so we're 3 minutes in. You still have 0 kills. So you're averaging 0 per 10 right now, which is not so good, obviously. You come over here. You take a ton of spam over here, which is not good. All right, you're covering for a second. That's fine. Right? You see the Cassie's overextended. You saw him right here. Important. One of the things that lower ranked players don't have is object permanence. Okay? When the Cassidy disappears around the statue, the Cassidy did not go anywhere. He is still here behind the statue. And the Cassidy has no way to escape here. Okay? He's certainly not going to go this way. This is obviously not an escape. It goes back into your team. He could walk this way, in which case he's going to be back in your field of fire. Or he could go this way, but this is a long, straight line run away from you that you could also see, and you could kill him. So the second that you realize the Cassidy is here, he's dead. This Cassidy is as good as dead, right? He's dead man walking mode. There's literally no way for him to get away as long as you don't let him get away. If you just stand here, right, and just spam and wait for him to come out and then concuss him as soon as he comes out, he dies. Literally no way for him to get away from this situation. Okay? Very, very important to note. But do you try to push this advantage and stop this Cassidy from getting away? No. You, in fact, rotate to the other side of this shield where the shield is now stopping your attacks instead of staying this side where he can't do anything about it. So you let this Cassidy get away. You concuss for no reason. Like, you're not low or anything. I don't really know why you concussed here. You pop tire. So for the purposes of this replay, I'm just not going to talk about your tire usage at all because it's too complicated. It's like way too many variables to talk about how to use a good tire. So I'm just going to like not comment on whether or not their tires are good or not. I'm just going to note what happens from the tire and we'll move back on. Tire comes out and you kill turret and you don't kill the Ana, which is not good. You don't want to trade tire an ultimate for a turret that the Torb can just throw back up. That's not good value. So you waste the turret. All right, you finally get a kill. So you got one final blow, 3 minutes and 20 seconds to the game, which means on a per 10 basis, you're averaging about 3 kills per 10 minutes, which is about 30% of where you need to be good for your rank, for perspective. Like, that's a problem. Now, granted, you probably do better in the next phase or whatever, or in other games, but I'm just watching this game, right? This is the only game I can give you feedback on. So you apply pressure here. This is super bad because you cannot solo push a Sigma. Like, if I'm the Sigma, I just push into you and kill you. You have no ability to win a 1v1 versus a Sigma. And my guess that you're pushing this is because you don't know that, would be my guess. If you do know that, I don't know why you'd be pushing. But I'm going to assume that you don't know that you can't win a 1v1 versus a Sigma. But it's not even a 1v1 because there's also an Ana and there's also a Dorb there. But fine. I mean, you're also being pocketed by Mercy. But even with the Mercy, like, if I'm the Sigma, I just walk into you and kill you. Like, you can't do enough damage to kill me faster than I kill you. You do a lot of damage, but I have over 2.5 times your health, and I have shield, and I have grasp, so I'm not worried about you killing me first. So this is a very dangerous move. If he hits this rock, you die. You are extremely lucky that he misses this rock. Right? He hits a double direct. That rock's not even close. Then he misses that direct. Then he misses those attacks. Then he misses those attacks. And then he melees you to death. Or the Torb kills you. That was a really bad call by you. You did not need to push this. Right? You should have just been like, hey, look, do I have anybody to actually push with this? I do not. My Rhine just respawned. My Widow is dead. This is like 3-on-3 here, but like the tank's still alive. Everyone's full health, basically. Just chill. Just go back here, spam, play safe. Do not die here. Number one thing, do not die. You could take high ground right now, for example, and get a better angle to spam and get ready for the next fight, and then rotate over here, which, as we pointed out earlier, is fight winning. You have options here which are not run straight at the Sigma and have him kill you. Again, that's rock should have killed you, right? Then Torb is eventually going to kill you right here. So you're going to get revived, and then miraculously your team captures this point somehow. I think your Ana flanks and kills everyone. Something happens like that. Yeah, your Ana decides to give up on the team, right? Kills the other Ana herself. Yeah, 3 shots are right there. Great. Right? Respawns. Hit. Misses the nade. That's not so good. This is why you don't jump, by the way. And then gets a kill. So she killed the Ana and she killed the Torb all by herself. With no tank to make space for her. She just went through Hotel and did it herself, which is what you could have done too, by the way, at any moment in time. Junkrat is really, really strong going through Hotel because it's close range. So we're going to stop there. Okay? Obviously, we could keep analyzing the second point, the third point, the defense, etc. But I don't think it's really necessary, and I think it's just going to become repetitive, right? Your emphasis should be here is, how do I actually get kills? How do I apply pressure? How do I force the enemy team back? How do I spam or attack successfully, right? And convert that damage pressure into kills. That's the most important thing that you need to do. Not spam from a million miles away, not attack without my Rhine, not like lose a ton of time losing a fight to a turret. Like, those are not things that you need to be doing. Right? Really, really important. Again, just push with your team. Damage anybody in the front line if you can do so safely. If you can't, move to an off angle and continue applying pressure from the off angle. As general tips that I would give you. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Hopefully this is helpful.